Prosumption Part 2: STSE Relationships, Research and Actions. This is the second video that teaches about prosumption. This video is followed by an application one that allows you to apply, test, and expand what you've learned in here. If you haven't yet, then please watch our first teaching video titled Prosumption Part 1: What it is, Types, and Related Problems. You can find links to these videos in the description. In the first video, we discussed meanings and types of prosumption and possible related harms to individuals, societies, and the environment. In this video, we discuss prosumption as an example of STSE relationships, that is, two-way relationships among science, technology, society, and the environment. While doing so, we discuss importance of doing research and possible actions to address prosumption-related problems. As a reminder, in the previous video, we said that prosumption involves simultaneous production and consumption of goods and services. We also discussed digital prosumption on Web 2, that involves using platforms offered by tech companies while producing the page content. Prosumers also produce data used by social media and tech companies to track and monitor prosumers' activities. Additionally, we discussed possible environmental harms related to prolonged digital prosumption. To better understand problems associated with digital prosumption and to be able to find effective ways to address them, it's important to understand that prosumption-related issues are a result of complex relationships between fields of science and technology and society and the environment. For example, the technoscience of digital prosumption involves computer science and data science and understanding how algorithm and search engine work. It also involves programming and hardware devices like the data storage unit. Some key social players that might determine possible outcomes of prosumption include tech companies and social media companies, prosumers, government and security agency, and related laws, rules, and regulations. In terms of environmental entities involved, one might think of energy consumed, fossil fuel, carbon dioxide, and climate change. Although all these entities affect and are affected by prosumption to a certain degree or another, some key players, like tech and social media companies, might be more influential on prosumption regulation and outcomes than other entities involved. Therefore, it's important that prosumers and citizens in general take counteractions to minimize the negative consequences of digital prosumption. Some personal actions that you can take to address problems related to digital prosumption might include proactively opting out from tracking options. You might also consider to filter out information that you post on your social media platforms and think about how much time is spent prosuming on the internet and for what purposes. While these personal actions might reduce some of the problematic outcomes of digital prosumption, they may not be enough and sometimes might be difficult to apply, especially that we're increasingly doing a lot of important activities online. So, collective social actions might also be required to address the roots of these problems. This might start by educating people in your community about these problems and rallying citizens, activist groups, and other powerful stakeholders to lobby for legalization of new laws that protect prosumers' privacy online. Most of the time, it's helpful to take more than one type of action to achieve your goals effectively. However, before taking actions, it's important to do your own research, to learn more about the problem, and to better inform your actions. Let's consider these statements about COVID-19 that were circulating across the social media recently. A recent study has shown that adding pepper to your food prevents COVID-19. Scientists have found that drinking alcohol protects people against COVID-19. 5G mobile networks spread COVID-19. According to the World Health Organization, all these claims are just myths that lack scientific evidences to support them. Nevertheless, these myths were reshared frequently on social media without verifying or checking their truthfulness. So, whether you are engaging in digital prosumption activities or taking actions to address prosumption related problems, it's essential that you do your research first. You can start by doing secondary research, which involves gathering available information and data from previously conducted research. Looking for articles from trustworthy resources is an example of secondary research. You can look for published research articles, government-supported studies, news articles, and documentaries. You can also further inform your decisions and actions by doing primary research, which is a self-conducted research that involves gathering and analyzing fresh data. For example, you might develop a survey to learn about what people in your community knows about consumption-related problems and then take suitable actions based on your findings. So far, we have discussed problematic forms of consumption. However, it's important to note that some types of consumption are more democratic or might lead to sustainable outcomes. For example, some Web2 platforms like Wikipedia or Creative Commons allow more collaborative interactions among prosumers. What's special about prosumption on these types of platforms is that the data and information produced are greatly under the control of the users themselves. They are used by the prosumers. There is usually less likelihood that profitable electronic surveillance will take place. This is unlike prosumption on social media platforms, where data are mainly exploited by the companies to increase their profits. These types of collaborative platforms might also open possibilities for counter-constructive actions. Another form of positive and sustainable consumption can also be found in some implementations of renewable energy. Households or organizations can, for example, install solar panels on the roofs of their houses and buildings or small wind turbines on their properties. These can be used to produce electricity. Excess generated energy can be resold or stored in a battery to be consumed in the future. Presuming energy might encourage citizens to shift their reliance into more sustainable energy. This was our second teaching video about prosumption. The next video will allow you to apply what you've learned here by continuing to explore digital prosumption and surveillance in relation to wearable fitness devices. Thanks for watching.